May 4th, 2023. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart on the NinjaTrader 8 platform. You can go down to the descriptions below. You can see where I got my trades in, as well as where I thought I saw setups. Now, I actually had to break away from trading at around 10 o'clock because something came up, and I was only able to come back to my desk well after the market closed. But I still wanted to look at the chart, so I marked it up as if I was trading it in real time. I moved it bar by bar just to practice my chart read and just to see, where I thought I might have taken trades or not. So everything after about 10 o'clock, 9:30-ish, this was not me looking in real time. So it is biased by because when I did come back, I did get to see what happened at the end of the day. So that already, affects me subconsciously, knowing kind of what's going to happen. So it's not a true representation of if I would have taken the trades or not. But I did mark them just for my own benefit. And mainly these videos, again, are for me to archive my trades to improve my trading. So hopefully that helps. Overall, there wasn't really that much economic news today. The only economic news that came out was today around 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is the unemployment claims. Other than that, there wasn't that much, there wasn't really any market movers today, except for potentially, I guess, some earnings reports that might come out. So in the pre-market, it looks like prices surged up and then came back down in a slow but kind of a orderly sell-off. Made one big leg, consolidated, second big leg, consolidated again, kind of a third choppy leg, consolidated, moved back up, and then it just kind of moved within this gigantic trading range. This is the pre-market highs and lows. As you can see, it really didn't come into play except for maybe one time shortly after the open. Then afterwards, it just kind of chopped around, and I did find this other trading range at the end of the day. Again, everything after 9:30 is a little bit more biased because, I wasn't seeing it live. But I'm going to go through my trades. I took a total of 3 trades, and all 3 were green, so that's pretty good. And I saw a couple of setups, and I think I missed some potentially good setups. So this is how, let's just go into the trades today. I'm going to try to go through this quickly because it's late for me, as well as I know I tend to ramble, and I want to make these videos a little bit more shorter and concise. So in the pre-market, I don't trade the pre-market because I'm not awake. There was a gap down. Prices made a strong, steady move up. There's like 2 clear legs up and then 1 leg down. But in the leg itself, it made 2 smaller legs, came back up. I drew this trend channel here. And then on the open, it looks like those prices were just oscillating within this trading range. It's actually a smaller, tighter one here, but I then dragged it up. And then it came down on this smaller trend channel. And then the first setup that I saw was actually right here. It made a new low, first entry short, and then it makes the second entry short. But the second entry short, it was an okay signal bar, and I thought there's probably a trade here. Let's just go back and look at it like this. Second entry short here, it is close to EMA. It's at the top of the trading range, so there's a potential trade here, but I didn't take it. I also saw a new high, first entry long, as soon as it breaks above. And then right here, I'm waiting to see if there's going to be a potential second entry long. And if it doesn't, it comes down here. But this is a pretty good signal bar. It bounced off the bottom of the pre-market low, which is this guy right here. And also, it's a possible confirmation of this trading range, which I wasn't 100% sure of yet because it looks like it's coming down. But, it's hard to really know if it's going to break and continue to go. There was a lot of little tests here. So here I saw it as a possible confirmation of the trading range by these guys. So it's probably going to potentially bounce back up. It did form below the EMA though, and I wasn't sure if there was a bearish bias, so I wasn't sure if there was a counter trend. All that added together, I just said I need to wait for a higher low. So prices continue moving up, test the top of this trading range, and then it doesn't really give me a higher low till about here, but it feels like it's too far. And I did see this as potentially a second entry short. So it's first entry short, then goes up. It's a second entry short. Now, the second entry short, it could be coming down or it could be going up. So I'm keeping in the back of my mind, this is potentially, a setup for failed second entry short. So failed second entry short does occur right here. When it breaks up above, I enter this trade 1 tick above. I'm just looking for a quick scalp. Now, the higher low you could say this is a higher low because we have first entry short, second entry short, and first entry long, second entry long. And this is a higher low, but as I said, it's too far from the second entry long. So I took this trade. Admittedly, I think it was a little bit riskier because it could still, this could confirm a second entry short, make two clean legs up, it might come back down. But I took the trade, it chopped around, and then I was able to get my profit out of it. Then prices continued to move. I don't see any good setups. It's kind of going and chopping around, and I start seeing a potential second trading range right here. So I draw it. It's kind of chopping around. Now keep in mind, this larger pink channel, I did have the top drawn here all the way down, and I had these two confirmations. But since it's only two touches at the top and two touches at the bottom, I wasn't 100% sure that this was a trend channel going down. So I needed a third touch. And I certainly wasn't going to really definitely take a trade unnecessarily. And this is a clean setup because this hasn't been confirmed yet. But I did have it exist at this early stage. Price continued chopping around. You could say there's a new high, first entry long, second entry long. This is a decent signal bar, but the trading range is too tight for me to try to get my 1 to 2 point scalp. So I just left it alone. Prices are really respecting this trading range now. So this is a third touch of this resistance potentially, but there's no setup for me to take. And it flashes down. It breaks through. So I'm wondering if it's going to be a failed breakout, but it would be counter trend to the overall bearish sentiment. Prices continued going down. Let's just kind of zoom out like this. And then it bounces, chops up, it surges up. I'm wondering if it's going to confirm a fourth time. It never makes it. It comes back down, makes one leg up. Now I'm thinking maybe potentially a second leg up. It doesn't quite hit it again. So now I know it is a bearish trend probably because it has broken out of this larger trading range formed by the pre-market. Prices continue moving down. I don't see a setup that I like or feel safe with. It's coming up. Right now, it looks like it's respecting the EMA. Prices continue moving down, makes a new low, consolidates a bit, and it comes back up. So it consolidates the second time. I draw this support first, and I wasn't sure if it was a channel yet. Not a channel, but a trading range. When it comes up, it touches. I'm thinking there's probably a triple test potentially. So I did draw this right when this candle formed. I saw a triple test potentially. I also saw a new low, first entry short, second entry short. There's a pretty decent signal bar. And it's at the top of its descending channel, which has been confirmed by a third touch now. And I thought, okay, well, if this is possible top of the trading range, and there's enough room for the EMA, this might be a possible trade here. But I wasn't sure because it just had made 5 really strong candles up. And to say, this is in a trading range, this is the third time it tested, and I wasn't 100% sure. So I just left it alone. Turns out it would have worked. Maybe with more experience seeing these more, I might have taken this trade because it is a key entry point here. There's enough room to EMA, but what scared me was there's a small leg, then a second really large leg. And even though the signal bar was pretty good, it just kind of made me wonder if this really big move would pull back and then break out. So I left it alone. Prices continue moving down. It looks like it's respecting this trading range at the moment. It chops up. It doesn't quite make it to the top. Certainly could have drawn it a little bit lower. And this might have been a second entry short with a failed breakout. So it actually could have been something like down here. But in real time, I didn't think about that. So unfortunately, I left it up here. Prices continue moving sideways. And it surges up now. It breaks out of this. I'm wondering if it's going to be a failed breakout, but it looks too strong. Comes back down, chops around, comes back, and it breaks into this smaller trading range right here. Chopped around. Now I'm thinking there's a second trading range here, 2 touches, and then I'm seeing this. So I saw this 2 touches here. So I draw this trading range, which touches down here and up here. It's kind of an overlapping trading range. It's kind of confusing for me to really know what's going on. So I just kind of sat on my hands mostly. And here I do see a new high, first entry long. I grouped this, even though it was a small pullback, technically it's like a first entry long here, and a second entry long. And then I counted as one leg down, first entry, then first entry long, pulls back, and potentially see a second entry long with a triple test. So it's at the bottom of this trading range, and it did make 2 legs down. It's like first leg, second leg. I also first leg, second leg. So I went ahead and entered on this trade, and then I was able to quickly scalp out, and then the prices continue moving up. Now, at the time, I was considering potentially I could trade it all the way back to the top, but I didn't want to be greedy and too ambitious yet, just based upon my experience level, because I could be reading the chart wrong. But I was pretty sure I was reading it right, because I saw it was one leg down, pull back, second leg down, and then potentially another move up. Plus, I saw the triple test, so that gave me a little more confidence. Prices continue moving up, breaks out of the trading range, and this is where I take my third trade of the day. Excuse me. I saw this like new high, first entry long, second entry long. Now it's made a double top here and it breaks above. Now when I saw this, I was thinking the signal bar right here was bearish, and technically this is the trigger bar. It went up and it broke up higher. And I saw the double top and I wanted to wait for this to close. So it did, and it kind of closed right where the tops of these were. So I actually set a stop buy order, one tick above the original, this double top, in this next candle. So I dropped it in one tick right here, and I got filled, and immediately surges up and fills my trade, which was pretty good. And I also saw this like as potential. Now this is a potential shortened trend channel. It broke out, it had an overshoot, came back to the other side, made like one push up. And I saw this as a potential, when this is forming, as a potential second push up to test this extreme. So that's gave me a little more confidence to drop it one tick above, and I was able to get the profit. Then prices continue moving down, kind of makes this smaller short-term trend channel going down. Bumps up, comes back down. It has a consolidation range here, and it goes down, and it makes another consolidation range here. So I did see a new low here. First entry short, second entry short. Now this trading channel coming down, it's only confirmed once right now. So there's not enough information to tell me that it's a good trade, because this signal bar isn't very good. So when it flashes down, I was okay letting this trade go because this is a terrible signal bar. And then this trigger bar didn't look all that clean either. So I just kind of left it alone. I wanted a confirmation of like a higher low, or excuse me, a lower high. And I do get the lower high right here. So I thought, here's the lower high confirmation, also touches this trend channel going down. So this is a good trade. It also broke out of this trading range. So that if this trading range wasn't this congested, I think it would have been a good trade, but I was not 100% sure, because it might just be, a failed breakout here. But it turns out it would have worked out pretty well. Prices continue moving down. I don't see any good setups that I like. Then it breaks up above. It's above the EMA again. And I have to keep my whole idea of what's going on. It looked like it's sold off, and now it's just kind of chopping around. So I'm keeping that in mind. Moves up. I don't see any good entries, but I do see a first, one leg up, and it's potentially making a second leg up. Comes up to here, and I'm thinking it might be a bigger leg in play. So I draw this orange line. Comes down, chops around, makes one leg down, second leg down. And you could say there's a new high here. It's a first entry long, second entry long, but the signal bar is not that great. And I saw it and I thought, well, the signal bar isn't that great. It's also below the EMA, so it's a second entry long, but I'm not sure of it, so I left it alone. But here I do see a higher low. So I thought this higher low is probably a pretty good trade, but I didn't catch it in time. It was like one leg down, push up, second leg down, push up, but now it's a higher low, and it's kind of on this visual, so it probably was worthwhile trade, especially when it came down and it just barely broke below, and then this candle fleshed up. So to take this trade, I think I would have taken it on engulfing. I think I would be a little bit too scared to try to take it at the top of this after it closed. It turns out it would have worked. Then prices continue moving up. Goes into this smaller trend channel. It goes up. Now it's the first break. Goes to the EMA. I'm watching carefully to see if there's going to be some kind of bounce. It breaks through, so there's no bounce. It kind of makes the first entry long here. It pulls back, and now here's potentially setting up for second entry long. This is a pretty decent signal bar. It's above the EMA, and I'm thinking it will want to test the highs. However, keep in mind, I already left the building. I'm already gone. this is me re-reviewing later tonight in real time. So pretending that this was real time. I think I would have wanted to take this trade, probably put it one tick above for a test of this high, because it's a decent signal bar. Excuse me. But I also saw this as like one leg down, pulls up. It can potentially also make a second leg down. So it comes up. It looks like it would have given me a scalp profit. And then here it's making a second leg coming down. Excuse me. And chops around, creates this short-term trend channel coming down. And it kind of looks like this super consolidation right here. Like this is just congestion right here. I don't want to get involved with this. Prices continue chopping around. I mean, you could say there's a second entry long here, and then you also maybe second entry short here, but look at just everything is side by side. I don't want to risk it because it just feels like it would flash either way. Prices continue, it breaks out below, it makes a bounce. I haven't drawn this pink channel yet. I actually draw this smaller trading range here, this smaller channel here, because I thought it was consolidating here, but I see no setup. Comes down, it's chopping around, and it touches like 2 times. So I draw the support down here and a potential resistance up here. It comes back up, it touches a second time, so and it breaks through. So I'm not too firm and sure about this, but I extend and draw this big pink one now because I'm thinking this is the top of a possible resistance. And it does look like it's respecting, comes back down, makes a triple touch at the bottom. So this triple touch makes me trust that this larger trading range is in play. This smaller one isn't important anymore. And this intermediate one doesn't look as important either. But I just left it for myself just to know what I was thinking. Prices continue chopping, makes one leg up, pulls back. Looks like it makes a second leg up and it touches the top. And it comes back down. So it gives me a lot of confidence that this is a trading range here. Comes back down. I'm expecting it to come back down to the bottom now. It makes one leg down, pulls back, makes a second leg. And so I do see a second entry long potentially, but this feels really risky. It's also too late in the day because it made like, and this candle made a double top and a double bottom. This is a pretty good signal bar, but since the way it's set up, I'm thinking it could also want to force itself down to touch the bottom here as opposed to go up. So even though this is a good signal bar, potentially a setup, but it just felt a little bit too risky for me. Then prices continue up. I do see a higher low. So I thought the higher low confirms the second entry long, but if you counted this as one big leg, then this is actually just one leg down, pulls up. It could potentially make a second leg because it hasn't touched the bottom here yet. So it's kind of also at the midline. So you don't know if there's enough strength to get to the top or it's going to be forced back to the bottom. So the setup's there. But it's too late in the day and I just wasn't quite clear what the bias was. So I left it alone. And certainly, well, I would have left it alone because I didn't even see this in real time at all. And prices continue chopping around and it's getting really close to the end of the day. And it just kind of closes the day out. So I got 3 trades. I had to stop trading right around 9:30 to 10. So all this afterwards is after the fact review. But I'm glad I went back and reviewed it in the evening just to, well, sharpen my skill and get more chart exposure. So hopefully that was helpful.